And now we head to the power rankings as we do each week here on the show. We look at the top 10 and the bottom 5 in the National Football League. And EJ, since it is kind of still your segment, a little
Yep.
different this year.
Yep.
Who's your bottom 5 this week?
All right, bottom 5 going from 28 to 32. This was actually tough because this is a case for like another 3 or 4 teams being this bottom 5. But for now, 28 the Saints, 29 the Giants, 30 the Titans, 31 the Raiders, 32 the Jets.
All right. Mike has Saints at 28, Ravens 29, Dolphins 30, Browns 31, and of course
the goddamn Jets
at 32. Sean.
All right, I've still got the Dolphins in here as well. I'm kind of with Mike on that. I think they're still just real bad. There are a lot of teams that could be tossed in with them. The Saints haven't quite grown their way out of here yet. You can win a cheap game, but I still know who you are. Glad to see both New York teams just settling on the bottom here. Giants, I'll keep the Titans just below the Giants for now. Super excited for Cam Ward, but we'll keep him down there. And the Jets, the goddamn Jets.
The goddamn Jets.
Just proving that once again, 0-5, never out of reach in the city of New York. So,
and like the sad thing is the first
out on that one.
The sad thing is, and the first 3 of those like felt winnable, and then I mean, take away a couple of junk time touchdowns, and you just were nowhere in the same stadium as the Cowboys this week. So it feels like it's getting worse before it gets better for the Jets. I have Saints at 28, Ravens 29, Dolphins 30, Giants 31, and yeah, you know the deal.
I fell asleep last night when the Ravens were my bottom 5. But
yeah, so here's the deal, man. I had the Ravens at 28 last week. I was the only one that had them in my bottom 5 last week. They lost pretty bad again. I had to move them down. I get there's injuries on both sides of the ball, but they weren't playing very good before injuries happened. So the Ravens. The sad thing is, like, if Lamar gets healthy and you start to play a little bit better, I mean, you're only 2.5 back from the Steelers. You still have 2 games against them. You're not dead. I think odds-on favorite still to win the division. So you can get back in it, but you're a bad team.
Those odds are going to shift a bit with Joe Flacco in Cincinnati. They're going to shift a little.
They are.
Probably more in favor of the Baltimore Ravens.
The wild part is if Shedeur Sanders takes the trade to Baltimore, he's your starter there now for a couple of weeks.
Imagine that.
Joe Flacco probably doesn't get traded to Cincinnati, and maybe they make a deal for like Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins or something. But wild how that whole thing's played out. But yeah, do I still think the Titans are one of the worst teams in football? Sure, but you know what? You got to win. Giants lost to a really bad team. I'll pull the Titans out for 1 week. I'm sure they'll find their way back in at some point. Devin says you're not going to hear any arguments from him about the Dolphins. Time to move on from Mike McDaniels. Yeah, I think it's a matter of when, not if, for the Dolphins at this point on that.
I'm shocked he's still in the job right now. Honestly, I'm really stunned. I said on Sunday after the game, like that's a game that you lose your job for that game. The way he lost that game, I lose my job now because I can't jump. And I'm sitting here at 9:00 and 9:30 at night here on a Tuesday, and he's a job still. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. He looked pretty dejected coming off the field there. I think there's a couple of games now where it really could kind of happen at any week. You have a Chargers team that's beaten up and kind of struggling a bit. Cleveland Browns, Falcons, Ravens, before you start the month of November against Buffalo. So I really do kind of feel like any of these next 4 weeks really could be the final.
Are you, real quick before we go to top 10?
Yeah.
Are you guys Ravens done for good, or are you still giving a sliver of hope?
No, I do think there's still hope there. The problem is even if Lamar gets back and your offense starts clicking, your defense is bad, and I don't know how you.
Mhm.
It has not been good.
Bad and
But-
banged up.
and-
Bad and banged up.
I
Yeah.
think that side of the ball is more permanently banged up, right? Like some of those are season enders. I
Yeah.
think I heard. So I mean,
But here's
I
the
mean-
deal. Here's the deal. I look at their schedule.
but the
You have
Steelers aren't real, right?
No.
They're not real.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing for the Ravens. You have the Rams this week, then you go on a bye week. You come out of it against Chicago, Miami, Minnesota, Cleveland, and the Jets. Those maybe minus Minnesota are all winnable games. And then you get into a division stretch of Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. From now till the middle of
Well, that
December.
buys them a lot of. Boy, it would be something for them if they could find a way.
Yeah.
To beat the Rams. Now I don't know that I would pick that,
I wouldn't.
but if they
But-
found a way to do it, they're
And
actually
Baltimore.
not sitting in a real bad spot, because I think if you start to win some, like if Lamar comes back and you win a couple games and you start to get a little confidence, maybe you do reach out to some teams about some defensive players, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you do have the opportunity to get a pass rusher you're missing or a defensive back you need. Maybe you just go sign one of some decent names out there. I was
Sure.
looking at the free agent list recently. I'm like, man, you could go do something. But yeah, it might be an interesting spot for him. Unfortunately, I think it's going to go the other way. I think you're going to lose to the Rams, and then you're going to have to start piecing your life together.
Yeah.
I think that's probably where they're headed. So
I mean, coming out of the bye week for the Steelers, I mean, they have Cleveland and Cincinnati, but those games, especially Cleveland, have been kind of a thorn in the Steelers' side.
oh, absolutely.
Then they have Packers, Colts, Chargers, Bengals, Bears, Bills, Ravens. So like
There's a lot of losable games.
there's
in that
some
stretch for
losable
the
games for
Steelers.
Pittsburgh. So I'm not. It feels weird to have a team this close to the bottom of the NFL on my list, but I'm not counting the Ravens out. But
I wouldn't. I still think they have some of the best talent on paper. They just
have
gotta
talent.
get
And as we said too on the show 2 weeks ago, that their schedule will lighten up. Now, again, my biggest concern is more so not even
Like,
Lamar Jackson. It's more
Flacco,
so
man.
getting guys back in the fold.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So still alive, still breathing, but the priest is on speed dial.
This just in. Joe Flacco was already sacked and is out for the season.
Already
Already
did,
sacked.
did Browning just get benched? He got hurt.
No, I saw they cut the guy who was their backup, right? So I think they're
I think
bringing
he's
in,
still there. They're just bringing in Flacco. Now, one would presume it's to be the starting quarterback. I don't know that they've
Right.
said that, because I was like, well, is there a chance he's just there in case Browning flubs up? And I'm like,
why
I
would
guess.
why would you bring him in, right?
well, I mean, what'd they spend for him? Like a 6th round pick?
Dude, a pick swap pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, you gave up like a 5th for a 6th or vice versa. I think they gave up the lower one just to get Flacco out of Cleveland.
Here's what's weird though about the Bengals. Like your season is you still technically can make the playoffs. So why aren't you going for a Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston, a quarterback that actually can compete?
So there you go.
Like,
But
To
Mike,
save your
Bengals fan, exploring all options.
It doesn't
So
make any sense. Like, why don't you go after a quarterback like Russell Wilson who can actually probably steal you some wins and keep you,
Well, you know,
ahead
Jamar
of the
Chase
order,
is lobbying for Jameis Winston.
especially in the AFC that's really weak right now. That if you could put on at least 3 or 4 more wins on the board before December, you get Burrow back in December and you can make a run to the playoffs. It makes no sense to me.
I mean, but didn't Flacco also have a team in the playoffs like 2 years ago? I mean,
Yeah, but that's 2
I
years
get it.
ago.
His age is 2 years.
yeah,
is 2
but that's what I'm
years,
saying. 2
but
years is 2 years. And, yeah.
is a reliable arm that knows how to get the ball out. How quick he has to get the ball out. It knows how to make decisions, and I think that's what you're seeing with Browning is you have a quarterback who's not analyzing the quick decision. Flacco's going to get the ball to the playmaker.
Tell you one thing, I love the ceiling for Mike Gesicki and anybody playing tight end for the Bengals. I'll tell you that right now. Get me someone over the middle.
Mike also adds about the Ravens. They were trash defensively before Lamar got hurt. They'll still be trash defensively. Absolutely. And that's the part that for the Ravens, like the offense can be as good as it needs to be, but can the defense find any sort of a pulse? Like I'm not writing them off yet, but if their defense can't find a pulse, they won't get back in.
Yeah, as you said, they're on lifeline. So
That's a good point. Flacco beat the Packers formally.
Formally now, because I've changed that number in the last 2 weeks.
Right,
like
but you had him up there.
That's like the best team thing is now in the air, because right now the best team in the NFC is the Detroit Lions.
I know.
So
I'm just saying.
technically Philadelphia is number 2 right now.
You did have the Packers as your NFC number 2. At
then
one
I had
point.
the Rams last week, remember? And then that's done. And now the Bucks are the case now.
Well,
So-
sorry about your luck, Buccaneers fan.
That's the kind of year it's been, though. You know.
It sure has. EJ, who's your top 10 this week?
All right, 10-1. Jaguars number 10. A reward. I don't want to say it's fraudulent because they're 4-1 and the one loss. They probably should have beaten the Bengals, so they could be easy 5-0. But it doesn't feel like they're, it doesn't feel like it yet. I'm not bought in yet, but they deserve to be a top 10 team. Niners number 9, a reward for last week's win. 8 Packers. We'll see how they turn things around after the bye week. Number 7, the Rams. They gave away that game against the Niners. Number 6, the Broncos. Honestly, Bronco fans, I apologize. I believe in you guys. I was one of those guys before the year started. You guys were a little overvalued. I believe in you guys. I will call myself to the floor and admit myself. Yes, this is a real team in the AFC. Number 5, the Colts. Again, I said week 1, we saw things that were sustainable, and we're seeing it continue to sustain itself. Look, the AFC to me is wide open because number 4, the Bills. The Bills are the best team in the conference, but there's no real separation between them and everybody else in the AFC, which is a bad sign because it's Josh Allen a bust. Like right now, if you ask me right now who's a better team overall between Buffalo and Indy, I might go Indy.
Well, only one of those two teams has a defense that has a pulse, and that's the Colts.
and a consistent running game right now.
Yeah.
So there you go. 3, the Bucks. They got the in my opinion right now through 5 weeks the MVP of the league in Baker Mayfield. Number 2, the Eagles. Look, I feel like the Eagles are sleep. I'll ask Sean the question. Didn't it feel like even up 17-3 they were sleepwalking?
I think the hard part is a lot of people try to find a team's pulse using like the offense, right? I mean, that's obviously typically where the pulse is, and I don't know if that's where the heart of how Philly wins games lies, but it typically is a measuring stick, and to this point, it's just so inconsistent. And whatever's going on, like they don't have a talent problem at all, but they clearly have some sort of coordinator or communication problem. I don't know. I mean, this was a guy that was promoted from within. He was supposed to be a Jalen Hurts guy. He was supposed to be an A.J. Brown guy, a keep everybody happy guy. Well, no one's happy, and nothing's working. So I don't know at what point. I mean, it's hard to, at one loss, to panic. Yeah. But I think there's got to be a point where even if you're winning games, you're like, look, pal, this isn't working. And as a GM or someone, Roseman's got to step in and be like, somebody else call the damn plays for a game and see what happens.
Right. Also,
test something out because it's. I mean, what did Saquon Barkley have? 6 carries.
I was going to get there right now. That can't work. Your
he
formula
needs 15.
Your formula should not be 38 attempts by Jalen Hurts.
A.J. Brown should be getting the ball thrown at him 15 times, and Saquon Barkley should be getting the ball in his hands at least 15 times. If that's not happening, you're not running the offense correctly.
Especially because a team in Denver whose strength is pass rushing. So what are we doing here? Saquon Barkley stems as a problem.
You have a 2,000-yard rusher a year ago 6 times. Now, given one of his touches was a reception for a touchdown, and that's fine if you want to make some of his touches receptions in certain matchups. But, man, let the big boys push.
It just felt
EJ,
like
time out. We'll get back to the discussion. EJ, give us your number 1. We'll go.
Number 1. As I mentioned a little while ago, Detroit's best team right now in football. Like I said, that week 1 loss to the Packers is just seems to be forgotten. Like I said, they don't right now they're on a heater. They're back to where they were last year. The 15-2 team season last year prior to the playoff loss. So there's a top 10. I mean, like I said, this year there's no runaways here because, like I said, you could buy into Detroit right now being this great, and then the playoffs happened. Look what happened last year. So,
and here's the deal. I think it may take another year or two, but people are going to start figuring out that week 1s mean very little.
Especially with a shortened preseason and nobody playing.
Yeah,
correct.
Week 1s don't matter. I'll leave it at that. Mike, on his, he has a 49ers 10, Steelers 9, Jaguars 8, Chargers 7, Packers 6, Colts 5, Bucks 4, Eagles 3, Bills 2, and Lions 1. Sean.
I've held on to the Rams. I still have the Rams in. I think they could have easily just won that game and just not been here. Brought the Commanders in. I think getting Jaden Daniels back and kind of seeing what he did for that offense, and I thought the defense played better a little because of it. I think they're right back in it. Give me the Niners here by default. I don't think they're here because they have one loss. That's the only reason they're here, not because I believe in them. But slightly more than Pittsburgh. Then I got the Broncos, who you now believe in, the Jaguars climbing right up the ranks, at least for now. And I got the Buccaneers in my top 5. Eagles have fallen to 4. Some of that is out of anger. And then I have, you don't got to tell me, EJ, about the Colts being a better team than the Bills, because I've already put them there. Give me the Colts at 2 over the number 3 Bills, and then Man Campbell's Lions at number 1, which, by the way, EJ, if the playoffs started today, I told Jim before you joined the show, your number 1 seed, the Indianapolis Colts in the AFC.
It's insane. Shane Steichen, as Jim said.
My top 10, I still have the Rams at 10, 49ers 9, Jags 8. My Chargers plummet to number 7, Packers 6, Bills 5, Colts 4, Bucks 3, Eagles 2, and Lions 1. Anybody want to talk about anything?
Well, Dan Campbell's not a stud.
I respect what Sean did with the Colts. Honestly, you're seeing things that are just like, okay, we're down in middle of October now, and we're seeing things that, hey, this is a really good team. Daniel Jones is playing for himself.
It's not super flashy. It's not super exciting. It's football. It's balanced football on both sides of the ball, and it's not asking Daniel Jones too much and watching him do it very well.
They quietly have the highest point differential.
They do. I was going to bring that up. It's my favorite stat, Jim. Thank you for saying so. But yeah, point differential for the Colts plus 74.
And I got to be honest, if I did this list again, I would actually flip the Colts.
Although even after a week 1 debacle with Green Bay, the Detroit Lions are plus 62, in case anyone was wondering.
Yeah, honestly, if I do this all over again, I would flip the Colts to the Bills. Because here's the thing with the Bills too also. Who have they played this year? Really? Who they played? That's and they beat the Saints.
You got a bottom 5 Ravens team. That was the first week. You got a
bottom 5 Saints team who they barely beat. Who they barely beat.
Lost, by the way, to the Ravens.
Yeah.
Right? They almost lost it.
I don't think people know what to do in their minds with because that was supposed to be like these two great teams in a
right AFC Championship preview. And now it's like,
and now it's like, is it just because they were both terrible?
Yeah. So they beat the bottom Jets, the bottom Saints, you know what I'm saying? And by the way, outside the Jets game, all those games were nip and tuck. Dolphins too. Dolphins also.
Right. I mean, they have a plus 40. You know, like so you're winning games in 5 games. That's less than 10-point margin on average.
We got if we're judging Buffalo as a Super Bowl contender, we got to look at them a little more suspect, if you will. It's Josh Allen
teams that I'm questionable on. The 1-loss teams that I'm questionable on, like the 49ers, their point differential is only like plus 8 or something.
But
the Steelers are minus 2.
But the Niners have an excuse though.
They do.
They had a better quarterback than their starting quarterback. I don't think that's an excuse.
They're finding ways to win. Unlike the Ravens, unlike the Steelers. Look, the Steelers.
Yeah, they found a way. It's Mac Jones.
Yeah, right.
Mac Jones is how you win, not Brock Purdy. He's Brock Purdy or
right. The Steelers feel a little fraudulent. We got to see a stretch.
No, they're fraud.
Well, I think if that schedule that Jim read off is the stretch, we're going to get our moment to see how real they are.
Yes, exactly.
I thought for sure the worst differential in the league would be the Titans, and they're at minus 68, which is really terrible. But only one team worse, the Cincinnati Bengals at minus 71.
Oof. The bottom fell out. This has been literally.
They're just like, look, just score. Like, it's fine.
The sad thing is, like, because I think. Even at 4-1, and yes, they're finding ways to win. They beat the Rams. They beat Seattle week 1. I think if you play Seattle last week, like you probably lose to them. I think Seattle.
Yeah,
was
I agree with that.
But like,
well, and I mean, it's the one that I allude to every week where Darnold is leading right down the field, trips on his face.
but like when you look at the Niners schedule, I mean, they play at Tampa this week, but then after that, Atlanta, Houston, Giants. Then you got the Rams again, Cardinals, Panthers, Browns, Titans. They like. I don't think the Niners are very good, but they have so many winnable games.
Yeah, who's going to stand in the God dang.
And
Now, over your last 3 weeks of the year, you have Colts, Bears, Seahawks. Your final three have two big ones.
So those other teams in that division have to hang with them because
and I think Seattle will.
You're not going to have a shot.
I think Seattle will, but my goodness, the Niners have a pretty easy road.
And we said that before the year started. That they should win north 11 games just because the schedule.
Or if you take Christian McCaffrey out of the picture, that's a very different team.
Wow,
that's right. And we had to bake that in too. Also, he I hate to say it, he will get hurt at some point this year.
Yeah, and to be fair, Seattle passed the Jags this week. Very similar road. Houston, Washington, Arizona, Rams, Titans, Vikings, Falcons, Colts, Rams, Panthers, Niners. So the West opponents are on the easier side.
A little bit of a slimmer schedule.
So a little slimmer there. But yeah, Colts playing extremely well, and they're not scraping by against the bad teams. They're winning pretty convincingly. Sean and EJ, you guys both have the Broncos in. I'm not quite there yet. Yes, I know they beat the team that I had at number one, but like I also, and this is kind of why I didn't really punish the Eagles. I guess they blew it. Yes, there's questions about what the Eagles are right now, but I feel like the win for the Broncos more about the Eagles and more about officiating than it was about now they didn't die, they didn't roll over, but I want to see a little bit more, because even into that third quarter a bit, it felt like the Broncos were like, they were on that line of like, oh, last year was a bit of a fluke. So I'm just not quite there yet with the Broncos.
You talked to the guy that came to the year once again saying that they felt overvalued. But what I had to do is reassess the entire year on its head and forget my feelings on it and just watch the games. And they should have beat the Colts. They got screwed by the fucking penalty late in the game. So they have games they were the Chargers game too also had a lead late. So they're two bounces away from being 5-0 right now. And so when you assess the entire scope
by 8 too. So like
right, but as you said though, I'm gonna use words against you, buddy. Week one,
fair. It was a week one.
Right.
A week one.
So I mean, and again, everybody, what we're learning this year, 5 weeks in, is that everyone's gonna have a bad loss on their schedule. This is what it is, or either a bad loss where it's bad, it's a bad
Cowboys, Bears,
right, or just a bad. Well, the Bears are probably better than we think they are. We'll see after the bye. But like I said, I just think the Broncos, reassessing everything we've seen now, yeah, and this is what Bo Nix was saying. He hasn't played that great either.
Yeah.
And
to be fair, so like, in the years past, we've talked about tiers. Right now, I feel like the Lions are my clear-cut number one. There was no question there. Like Eagles, Bucks, Colts, maybe Bills are kind of in the next grouping. Packers, Chargers, Jags are kind of in that next grouping. And then that 9-10, like I kind of battled over it. Like it was like, okay, Seattle, I had it. I almost wanted to keep Seattle in the 10. I had them at 10. They lost to a really good team, but then I was like, well, do I sneak the Broncos in and bump the Rams out?
Yeah.
Do I keep the Niners in? I feel like I have to because they beat the Rams. So like I was battling over the 9 and 10 spots. So like the Broncos are probably hovered in that 11-12 area with the Seahawks. So they're not far out. I just wasn't quite ready to.
If we're just evaluating the 5 weeks alone, what we've seen so far in 5 weeks, the Lions are tier 1. Yeah. That's it. Okay. However, who do I trust more? Bigger picture, it's going to be Philadelphia still, because again, defending champions, Detroit has melted down in the playoffs. We've seen it. That's that. Until you prove it to me otherwise, I can't.
Well, injuries haven't helped the Lions either. So I think the key there for them is going to be help.
But right now, through 5 weeks, Detroit has been it's the clear best team in football right now. Clear.
Yeah. But yeah, and I don't know if it's just because there's been other years, obviously, where this segment has brought out heavy emotions and feelings because there's been kind of, I think, a clearer picture. Even at week 6, like I feel like there's been clearer pictures this year with just as chaotic as everything has been. Like there's nothing on anybody's list that feels egregious. Like Sean has the Packers out. Mike and I didn't move them because they were at 6. They had a bye. Teams above them lost. I was like, I'm not really going to punish the Packers where they are. They are where they are. But you don't have them in. That's fine. EJ have them at 8. That's fine. Like some of us have the Jags in. Sean has the Commanders. Cool. Like there's nothing. And even when you're looking at the bottom 5, like there's differing opinions. Ravens are in some. EJ
right, and I have a small chunk of teams just out that are sneaking in.
They very easily find their way in. Like there's nothing. It feels so chaotic. I feel like I'm trying to anchor my stake in quicksand. Like there's just nothing. There's nothing to grab onto right now besides the Lions at 1.
Yeah. And again, this is the beauty of the season. The puzzle is still being put together little by little. We think we know, but we don't know. If week 5 touching anything is that, damn.
We still don't
destroyed my parlays. I had parlays running, and I thought after the first 1 o'clock games at halftime, I was looking pretty, and those same favorites end up losing altogether. Philly and Miami screwed me. So
Achane having 16 yards rushing is what popped one of mine. I only had him getting 50. You couldn't get 50,
and yet that coach is still coaching this week.
Yeah, unbelievable. Any other thoughts on the rankings before we close?
I think we're good here. I think we've exhausted it.